I'm David Hopkins, 52 years old, been a Christian since I was just turned 20. Come from a non-Christian background, never read a Bible, never looked at a Bible, never really knew any of the God stories or anything like that. I'm a divorced man, 3 grown-up children living at home with me, recently moved to Hereford. I think, like a lot of people, very up and down. There's some days that I think are brilliant and yeah, I'm coping well, and there's other days you think, oh, this is horrible. Especially though I'm a bit of a social guy. I like to sort of be with people and along people, and I miss stupid things like standing in the cold watching football, you know, playing five-a-side. At 52 years old, I still play five-a-side. I miss that so much. Just going to play a bit of squash with my kids. And of course, just being in church praising the Lord, it's just those sort of things that you miss. And however much I can put music on at home and sing along and dance around and everything, it still isn't quite the same because it's not the right atmosphere and things like that. And I'm a sort of person that likes live. I like live events all the time, and just I struggle not being at a live event, including being at church, including playing squash with my kids and things like that. So my favourite Bible verse actually comes from more than one place in the Bible actually. It was first given to me when I was baptised, and it's from Deuteronomy. And it's love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your strength. But I later found it in Matthew and Mark, and actually it became what surprised me, that actually Jesus says was the 2 greatest commandments. And I know as Christians we think there's only 10 commandments, but actually the 2 greatest commandments are love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind, and love your neighbour as yourself. And those 2 have stuck with me from the moment that I was baptised for the rest of my life, and seeing them in different ways, in different parts of the Bible, but realising these are the greatest commandments, and these are the ones that in my own life I try and stick to in every aspect of my life. Yeah, so my greatest challenge in life, up until 3 years ago, would have been that my youngest son was born 9 weeks premature, and that was a bit of a battle, and I had some right fights with God about that. And you know, I'm embarrassed to say sometimes, but I swore at God and told him how pathetic he was and how bad a dad he was, and that because why should my son be fighting for his life and not me? Why can't I swap places with him? Let me swap places with him. And that was my biggest battle until just over 3 years ago, and discovered my wife was having, a Christian wife was having an affair, which was the 2nd time that she's done it, but I'm not even sure if it's been going on for 10, 12, 15 years. I really actually no idea whether it was new or old or anything, and that has been the biggest challenge of my life. Keeping my faith, keeping my chin up, being happy, smiling, getting on with work, you know, just having things like a shower. Just a massive challenge, and getting through that is the hardest, as a Christian especially, is the hardest and most difficult thing I've ever had to go through in my entire life. So learning from what I've been through, firstly I'm actually going to read some verses from a song from a Christian group called Plum, called Beautifully Broken. Every tear, every doubt, every time you've fallen down, when you're hurting, feeling ashamed, when you're numbing off your pain, when you've lost your way and feel so far away, you're not. Every fear of being loved for who you are and no matter what, when you're stumbling and you're haunted by regret and the darkness closes in, just listen. Oh, the God who made the stars is the God who made your heart, and he's holding you right now. He can heal the broken parts and make beautiful from the scars, beautiful scars. You're beautifully broken and you can be whole again. Even 1,000,000 scars doesn't change who you are. You're worthy, you're beautifully broken. And that is something that I had to sort of take on board that I wasn't perfect, I wasn't right, and I was scarred and hurt and injured, and had to know where God was in all this and where he was in my life. Thankfully, I'll go through the experience that I went with my youngest son, that actually this time I turned to him. I didn't call him names, I didn't say how horrible he was. This experience, I turned to him. And though it was a battle, and sometimes I was further away than I wanted to be from God, I turned to him. And that brought me to New Life Church Centre, where I met some amazing people who, even without their knowledge, were saying things to me that God needed me to hear. And that was just, I just knew that's where I come to a church where God wanted me to be, and helped me through what I went through. And we're 3 years down the line, you know, my degree absolutely is not far from coming through. And though we're going through a pandemic, I'm in a much better place. I'm happier. My finances are actually way better than I would have expected. So much so that actually I think I'm better off, which I don't understand. I'm still struggling to understand how financially I'm better off, and there's only one wage coming into the house. So God, somehow all the others were miracles in me that I've been able to refinance and things. So, and I don't really know how it's happened, but I know that God has been there all the way. I've struggled through, and I do know that Old Testament it may be, but the years the locusts have eaten, God will restore. So for people that would like some advice in their faith, or even in life in general, I just want to sort of, again, take a couple of things from the Bible. Well, it's actually not from the Bible, but some of the greatest Bible people actually were broken. When you think of somebody like King David, what an amazing guy he was. You know, took stones and killed a giant, you know, but he was also an adulterer. He also sent somebody to the front line to get killed. So basically a murderer. But God turned that guy around and made him one of the greatest kings ever known. And you just look at that and think, oh, wow. If we look at somebody like Peter in the New Testament, Jesus told him, you would deny me 3 times. And then Peter went on to deny him 3 times. But we live in a church today that in reality was built on Peter and his faith. You know, Peter was broken. He did things that he should never have done. But God still chose to build his church around him. And today we live in the New Testament church, which was built from Peter and those disciples. And that would be my advice, is God will take broken and make us beautiful. What I want to finish with, if I can, is there's a well-known poem in Christian terms called Footprints in the Sand. Look it up on the internet or anything, have a look at it. But the bit I want to read from that is something that I know quite early in my life, probably when my third child was struggling in hospital. And it was these last words: "My son, my precious child, I love you and would never leave you. During your times of trial and suffering, when you see only one set of footprints, I was there. It was then that I carried you." So when we think God isn't with us and we only see that one set of footprints, actually that's because we're on his back or we're in his arms, and we are actually being carried through the troubled times.